In this episode, we're featuring phase 1 of the Barndominium roofing.
Hey everybody, today we're putting these panels on the roof. Finally, they're about 25 feet long, and there's just the two of us doing it, so we're using the excavator. So hopefully it all goes according to plan.
So our first step is to get this insulation ready to put up underneath of the panel. And so we're rolling it out on the trailer here and cutting it to length. And then we will roll it back up and take it up and staple it down so that it's secure to be able to put the panel up on top of it.
So we've got the first rack up here, and I've got the clamp off. We had it clamped so the wind wouldn't blow it, and really feel like this is a lot of trial and error. It's going pretty well so far, but we're just uncertain of how all this is going to work out. Usually you've got a couple guys on the ground and a guy on each side of the sheet, and you kind of slide it up that way, and with just the two of us, and we have to work from the same side, getting up's not that easy, and running into a little catch there. As we're sliding it up, it's catching on a couple of the rafters that are, just a tad high, but I think really we may have a rack too high coming off. So Daphne's gonna get out and get a little more leverage on it and help kind of pick it up a little. There we go. We're gonna get it above that. Yeah, I think we got her there. So and the other thing I can see that we have a problem with is I've got the rack just up over the edge of the roof a little bit, so we're gonna have to take it up all the way past the ridge and slide it back down, and then get the machine out of the way right quick. So anyway, this first sheet's not going all that bad, and so we'll see on the next few here. So we've hit another one here that we're going to have to try to, well, we were able to bounce a little bit and get it on up there, so I think we're home free now, other than just pushing it up past the ridge here a little bit and letting it slide back down. We'll get it so the overhang is about right, and then we'll fasten the edge on. So figuring out how to deal with this, the insulation going up has been a challenge too, because it's 6 feet wide. The panels are just about 3 feet wide, and so you're always kind of fighting the excess insulation when you get up there trying to put the screws in or just work on the panels. So there was a lot a lot of trial and error with the insulation. What we ended up doing was kind of folding it up to where only about half of it was exposed, and then unrolling it once we had the first sheet on top of it. But it doesn't always end exactly, so eventually we ended up kind of rolling it down and then sliding it under the previous sheet, or at least the first few inches of the previous sheet, and that worked really well. And here you can see that it looks like we've really kind of hit a rhythm. We've got a little bit of wind and we're sliding the panels right up and getting a screw in them to hold them in place while we go up to the top, and we get the sheet lined up at the top and get it all fastened down. And really at this point we're moving along pretty good, and it's all working just fine. Felt like we were doing real well, and then we got to about this point where the machine started to head down a slope a little bit, so it kind of presented us with a different angle. And as we got the sheet on there and got it all situated, the wind was starting to pick up just a little bit. You can see the trees blowing, the smoke kind of changing direction every 10 seconds, and then kind of our worst nightmare happens, the sound that you don't want to hear.
So there wasn't really much that we could do except for stay calm and keep moving forward and getting the situation under control, and we did. We hope you're enjoying following along with our Barndominium build, and if so, please hit the like button for us. Something's not right, because I don't think we're going to be able to get this either.
So this is the fixture we've been using to lift roof panels up with. It did a pretty good job until we got where the machine was on a slope. At that point, the panel started sliding off to the right, and I've cobbled some stuff on here to see what kind of improvements to make, what I want to do, what I thought would work before I invested the time in cutting up steel and welding it on. But I think I've got it figured out. I'm going to make some repairs, and then we're going to try it again. We had a couple of, I wouldn't call them catastrophic failures, but they weren't good. and we lost and damaged a couple of panels. We'll be able to use them somewhere else, but it sure didn't pay off. So I'm going to weld these angled rails out here on an extension to give a little bit of a guide to both sides of the roof panel, keep it from sliding side to side.
It was kind of doing that before.
Go on over as far as you can there. We talked about doing this in the beginning, but just felt like it might constrict the direction of the panel. We might not have the freedom to move it and adjust it as we slide it up the roof, but it proved out that it was going to be necessary. As you can see here, as we get the panel up there, there's a post in the way, and kind of wanted to show that because between working around the post and working around the trusses, these are some of the most difficult sheets to get up there and to get fastened down, and we really struggled with this one, so I wanted to show that to you. Another thing you might catch is that the bucket cylinder on the machine kind of floats down too, and it floats down in this scene a lot faster than reality. It really doesn't sink down that fast, but having the panel down below the edge of the roof is key. That way you kind of come up and kind of coming over a peak there at the edge of the roof makes it a lot easier to slide the panel up and not get it caught on the insulation or any rafters that might be sticking up a little high. I had taken a portable plane, an electric plane, and had milled down some of these rafters a little bit that kind of stuck up and were not the same size as the others, and tried to avoid that, but we still had a little bit of it. It gets pretty windy up here this time of year, so a lot of days our day kind of consisted of kind of early mornings where by the time noon or 1 o'clock rolled around, it would get so windy that you couldn't control anything, and so a lot of the days putting the roof on were just kind of half days, and most days we get anywhere from about 4 to 6 sheets on at a time, so it added up to a couple 3 weeks, but wasn't terrible.
Yeah, we just kept at it at a steady pace, pushing through. This sure takes a lot of up and down with the lift, and we're sure glad that it's working so well. Each panel has 13 rows of 4 screws each for 52 per sheet, so it's a lot of moving around.
So as you can see at this point, we've made the adjustments to our rack, and we're moving right along, and things are working pretty well, and as long as the wind stays died down, we'll do just fine.
We've been working for 8 days now and had a little bit of downtime due to wind, but I think we're doing pretty well, just the two of us. If Dave had someone else to help, he might be able to get it done a little faster, but he's stuck with me. We're getting down to the end of phase 1, and it feels good to have made this accomplishment. Now we're going to look forward to phase 2 being the lean-to roofing, and then we'll move on to phase 3, the back side of the top roof.
As you can see, the rafters aren't cut yet. We're gonna kind of adjust everything at the last minute before we cut those. But let's go ahead and get the rest of this roof on. So as life will have it, always the last piece is going to be a struggle. We got picked up a little bit in the wind here, and we're just trying to get it tacked down so that we can get the last sheet on it. Our last full sheet, we're going to get it on here. We're going to trim the insulation up a little bit, and then we're going to measure out and cut our rafter ends and get our fascia board put on there, and then we'll put the last probably a foot or 12.5 inches of roof panel on there. Now we saved cutting this for the very end for a particular reason. We wanted to make sure that the roof came out even and that everything was square, and we just didn't have a lot of confidence that it was going to do that, so we saved this for the end. But everything did come out almost perfectly square, and the roof panels ended just the way we wanted them to, and that way when we put the corner up over the end for the fascia, we didn't have to worry about future water coming underneath the panel, so everything worked out perfectly. So there we are, 1,820 screws later. The first side is on, and we're getting ready to start on the lean-to.
We hope that you're enjoying watching these videos and following along with us. And so if you haven't subscribed yet, we hope that you will.